Okay, so this video is going to be much different from my usual content, and it will be saltier. I also want to say that most would consider it political, so I want to give a warning about that to start. If you aren't into what I have to say, you can just leave and save your time and effort by not writing a comment complaining about how I'm too woke or whatever. Let's start with everyone deserves more money, at almost every level of employment in America. I'm sure this is true for other parts of the world, but I live in America, so that's where most of my knowledge in these regards exists. This does not include people on executive boards, shareholders, CEOs, and of course billionaires. I unironically believe in the meme of "I want shorter games with worse graphics made by people who are paid more to work less," and I'm not kidding. Any recent shovelware stinker games do not prove this to be a worthless statement. I'm looking at you, Skull Island: Rise of Kong. Seeking endless growth under our capitalist system is bad. Look at the recent layoffs of Epic Games, because Fortnite underperformed. I feel like I could have easily summed this all up by saying I'm a big James Stephanie Sterling fan. Go watch them if you like this rant and never seen them before. With all that out of the way, let's get to the meat of this video. Always online games are bad. A game that has no support for offline play isn't something gamers should tolerate. When a company decides to end support for a game like that, it becomes unplayable. Unless they do the extra work to add the offline support, or just dump code for servers online so fans can have a go at the very least. But a lot of companies don't want to put in that time and money. Sure, it's a very consumer-friendly practice. But when you're removing the game from sale, why do something nice for the players? Where's the money in that? I mean, there should just be rules against this, especially if the game costs money to play at all. There are some games that have these kinds of options, either built in or added later, to be consumer friendly. Like, I won't be able to do matchmaking in Aliens Fireteam Elite, but I can still play it single player when the servers go down. And they've recently patched the game to have slightly better bots, so it's slightly more viable now? Even the Square Enix Avengers game got pulled from the store and the server shut down, but they said you can still play single player and host games with friends if you want to do that. So examples of good customer support do exist. Although the Square Enix situation is slightly undercut by the fact that Babylon's Fall and all those Final Fantasy mobile games were shut down and are now totally unplayable. All of these concepts are much better discussed by Ross of Accursed Farms, and his series of videos, Dead Game News. He's out there fighting a good fight against this crap. Side note, while working on this video, my friend sent me an article about another game shutting down with no single-player support. And while that is a slightly different but much dumber issue, it still exists in the games industry for some reason. But, I mean, Dwarfheim can't have single player because they lost the source code? That's why the Silent Hill 2 version from the collection sucked. They threw away the source code. Okay, this video isn't about those stupid issues. Let's continue. I think part of the problem is related to video games including a very young audience, and that the internet is very reactionary and encourages extreme opinions. I know someone once tweeted something along the lines of, "It is a crime that I have to be exposed to some 13-year-old's opinion on the internet." Now, this ties into the idea that companies want that endless growth, so hook them while they're young. Get a kid into your franchise or just your company's output and they'll stay a fan and put up with quite a lot. They don't know better, they haven't been exposed to all the terrible business practices that exist out there. What I'm trying to say to everyone is that companies are not your friends. You are just money to them, and as long as they can squeeze that out of you, they are happy. Additionally, you are not immune to propaganda, or more accurately here, sales pitches and advertisements. This leads me to a problem I saw related to the game this entire video is actually about. Second Extinction has been pulled from the stores, and the company behind it, Systemic Reaction, is abandoning development. People are rightfully upset by this, myself included. But if you went to the Steam forums for other games developed by the same studio, where people were expressing those frustrations and suggesting gamers not get invested or interested in the other games of this same studio, they were mostly shouted down. People would say things like, "You bought an early access game, this is what can happen," or "This game looks trash from the start, it's your fault for buying it." Just anything along those lines. I do know that early access games may never get finished. Look at Necropolis, Space Base DF9, or Towns. But if I want to, I can still play those games. In about a year, I will never be able to play Second Extinction again. And of course, I don't believe any of the people on the forums saying these things. They just want to ignore the issue and enjoy the game they bought, mostly Generation Zero. Luckily, that game doesn't require an internet connection to play, and when they stop supporting it, you can still play it. But I know you've purchased some early access games, don't lie to us. Point being, this isn't only an early access problem, but a problem that impacts all of gaming. When they come for a game you like, you'll be looking for someone to feel your anger too, and someone like that will call you stupid for buying into a thing, regardless of what they do. Okay, I already mentioned what started this video idea for me, the shutdown of Second Extinction. The announcement came on October 16th, 2023. Systemic Reaction made a pretty vague and unsatisfying statement about the game not achieving the success they hoped for and unforeseen show-stopping issues. This does not satisfy me. I want them to express what the show-stopping issues are, not just mention that they exist. I can understand some major issues that make development impossible, but to not express what these are reeks of BS to me. And the game not reaching the level of success they hoped for, I don't know what to make of that. They had been pretty bad about communication during early access, and the last announcement they made about the game was on November 22nd, 2022. That was announcing the game would be hitting 1.0 in 2023, pushed back from the proposed date of that month. The last actual game update was from March 8th, 2022. I think a lack of success stems from a rocky launch that didn't really address the issues and bugs players were facing. When I tried to play the game recently, it crashed on me twice while actually on a mission. But also, this studio has other games and sources of income. Can't they spare some of that for the continued development of this? I guess I don't know how their company is structured or how their parent company, Avalanche Studios, handles making these games. Actually, looking into it for this video, Systemic Reaction is 4 companies deep. Owned by Avalanche Studios Group, who is owned by Nordisk Film, who is owned by Egmont Group, who, according to Wikipedia, has quite a few euros to throw around. But even going down to the small place of Systemic Reaction's money, I believe Generation Zero is pretty successful, just based on Steam reviews alone. The game has continued support and updates. It has a bunch of DLCs, 8 of which were released last year. And those aren't all cosmetic either. It's mostly content DLC, either adding to or expanding free updates the game received. They can't share some of that success with Second Extinction. This is really just to hammer home their statement isn't very satisfying to someone who liked the game. I mean, the idea is solid. A co-op shooter where you have to fight dinosaurs. Playing it with friends was fun, roaming around, shooting raptors, and dealing with the bigger dinos, like a T-Rex. That was a blast, but now I won't be able to play it in the future. Plus, it's been left in a state that needs quite a bit of work. I can't force them to tell me the things I want to know or to keep working on the game, but it's still very unsatisfying, especially considering they have no plans to make this playable without servers or share the code for the game to let the community have a go at it. If people can fix Bethesda's bugs, I bet some random modder could make a mighty improvement to this game. Not that we should expect or demand that to be the solution. The company should be the one doing those things. And there's no hope for refunds. This is long past any of those windows, and there appears to be no special case for this. Why would there be? There rarely is, for anything like this. Sometimes mobile games will refund unspent premium currency, but I don't even want to wade into the nightmare that is the free-to-play games that pull this kind of stuff, let alone the mobile market. That thing is a disaster. The overall point is that a game I paid money for will no longer be a game in about a year. And that sucks no matter what the game is or the state it was abandoned in. Why do I not get to play with my toys when a company decides that they don't want to support it anymore? I know I'm still guilty of playing games that do this. It's quite difficult to boycott all games that are always online, because it's hard to get gamers to rally around a boycott, and to make companies not abandon games in an unplayable way would take actual government regulations, and we can't have that in America where the free market is king. I mean, I tried Synced recently, and I have a hard time imagining that game will last even a year, and that will just be gone forever. This also ties into game preservation, a very difficult thing to deal with in gaming. Even if the game sucks, there should still be a record of it. Somewhere, someone could see it played, or, ideally, play it. But here goes another pretty neat game, just sent off to the great landfill in the sky to be dead forever. I don't know what to do about this in terms of game production, but I do feel like something should be done. This is a very anti-consumer practice, and now I will always think twice about supporting a game coming out of Systemic Reaction. They have damaged their reputation to me. At least Generation Zero is a game I can play without their servers, so they can't take that away from me, and I already own it. You know, let me end this on a much more positive note. You know what's a game that could have really easily fallen into this situation? Deep Rock Galactic. But it doesn't. The focus is on co-op, but I can just connect to my friends directly and play. I know I don't talk about this part of gaming, but they even do the battle passes that are 100% free. They do have quite a bit of DLC, but it's all cosmetic, and it only coincides with the new seasons or other special moments. I suppose that's the only real thing people could view as a negative about the game. And despite some annoyances people are having right now with the delay of the next season and improved modding tools, I think everyone is largely happy with the game, and I think it's great. I'll probably be playing it for many years to come, and possibly years after official support ends. Howdy y'all, thanks for watching this video. I told you it'd be saltier right at the start, and it sure was much saltier than my other videos. I really like to champion the good in gaming, because I feel like there are so many YouTubers and internet people who only really like to focus on the negative. While some of that is really important, like how the Jimquisition exposes a lot of bad business of the games industry, we don't need everyone to make a million videos on the worst games that exist. I just kinda don't like adding to that negativity, even though I easily could. I've played a lot of trash to get to the gems for the Why I Love series. Anyway, I really recommend looking into Accursed Farms about the topic of dead games. He did a lot more, and at one point hoped to push someone into making some kind of regulation against these anti-consumer practices. I don't know if anything came of that, and it makes me a little sad. Anyway, join me for the next video, which should be back to the regular stuff. And despite saying I don't like to be negative, I'm working on a larger project that might end up fairly negative, but it is about something special I want to do, so look forward to that, with my schedule in like a year or something. That's a joke. I hope way sooner. Thanks everyone. Bye!